Let's be honest, performance reviews rarely lead to peak performance. Why is this? Many people feel reviews are unfair and often biased. Science shows that unconscious bias affects both sides of the review, the self reporter, the one reviewing themselves, and also the peer or the boss. Recency bias is one of the most prominent biases that we've seen in performance reviews. You can imagine what this means. This refers to the tendency to rely on the more recent data and not the historical observations of the situation or when drawing conclusions. So during performance reviews, this tendency skews the way employees evaluate themselves, peers, and direct reports. Science shows that recency bias is one of the toughest unconscious biases for managers to shake. They always want to focus on what happened more recently. Here are some ways to make your reviews of yourself and your direct reports reflect the bigger picture, base it on facts, factual data, and not be so biased. There's 4 different tips I have. Number 1, consider goals and competencies. Goal setting is known to motivate employees and increase motivation and positive outcomes. Tying goals in a review to the business outcome is a way that helps employees understand how they contribute to the business. This is shown to increase engagement and performance after a review. Companies that I work with use a lot of times a goal tracking software. They put goals into the software and they track them weekly, biweekly, or monthly. This creates a historical record that employees and bosses can cite during any kind of feedback, whether it's pop-up feedback or the annual review process. This really helps with recency bias because it helps focus on the past accomplishments all along the year or half year, and the competencies. So not just the accomplishments. So it's not just the most recent things we've done. Accomplishing goals is just the start. Really, a reviewer, including yourself or your boss, if you're reviewing other people, should go further and look at job competencies of each individual. Because understanding competencies, this helps us direct us to the facts, not biases. It puts additional guardrails for evaluating performance over the long term, which makes sense. So also when you're understanding and reviewing competencies, it reduces a recency bias as well, significantly. Number 2, prior to your review, use some type of technology to document the feedback that you've been given. Recency bias is not just an obstacle for managers reviewing their direct reports. Your own accomplishments can be really hard to recall when it's time to do a self-assessment. At least it is for me. Many clients I work with tell me the same thing. When they write self-reports, I work with them to write these and remind them of the notes that I've taken about our work together. This helps them write what they've done. And it can be very difficult to remember everything you've done over the course of the year. So I recommend developing a filing system to set aside any positive feedback from a coach, from your mentors, from any of your clients. You can either use like a Trello board, a Google document, or a Word document. When you get emails, when you get any kind of feedback, positive feedback, you copy them and paste them in there so that the exact messages that you need for review are in there. Some of my clients use Lattice to track their feedback as well. Whether you're handling this automatically or manually, err on the side of logging more and not less. So when somebody gives you feedback, write about what you did in order to get that so that it jogs your memory when you need this. Honestly, writing down as much as possible is better. Both positive and negative things you can write down because it can show your growth. If it happened now, even if there's something negative in 6 months from now or 3 months from now, you can see how you've overridden that or you've grown through that. And that's really good to point out. Okay. We need to toot our own horn. We do need to do this. And we need to actually understand major accomplishments and how we got there. So the growth as well. This can help to make a case for why you deserve a raise, a promotion, or why you get an extra direct report to supervise. Also, how you've developed yourself as a leader. So it's really important to toot your own horn. A lot of times what we write down is only negative things about ourselves. So make sure you put negative and positive. The third thing I want to talk to you about is think about how you run reviews. If you run your reviews or give feedback more frequently, it tends to reduce the recency bias and reduce bias overall. So Think about how you run these. Step back and rethink your approach to reviews. Asking employees and managers to recall once a year, it just invites trouble. Research shows that quarterly reviews make it easier to reflect on accomplishments and provide actionable steps forward if something is out of alignment, so you can get back in alignment before the end of the year. This also, as you can imagine, helps to eliminate recency bias when you do these more often. Lastly, the fourth thing, make peer reviews part of the process. Incorporating feedback from others into your reviews, you can paint more of a comprehensive picture about the entire employee performance. For example, a direct report could have done an excellent job leading a project earlier in the year, but the manager might have not even been involved in that project. They might be a new manager. A specific colleague that they have may have seen them go above and beyond for a client when in need, but that might not be actually reflected anywhere in their full picture of their review. So to get the full picture, consider peer evaluations and how other people see them. Even a client's feedback is very helpful because this can give a unique perspective and an unique insight to their work, how they're being presented and how they're landing for other people. Science shows that leveraging cross-team feedback is proven to increase one-on-one connections on the team, making them more cohesive, improve engagement and productivity on teams. So when you give cross feedback on teams, it's proven to make them way more high performance teams and increase productivity on those teams. So in summary, to reduce bias, I just want to tell you there's 4 different things we went over, but performance reviews should really drive business growth. You want to give employees a chance to share and receive valuable feedback. Overall, it should improve their job satisfaction. How a lot of times we run them, it does exactly the opposite. So remember, performance reviews should drive business growth. Okay. They should give an employee a chance to share and receive valuable feedback. And overall, it should improve job satisfaction, something that we all want right now.